Welcome back to What's Next Garage. Today we're going to pull the heads off. First I'm going to get this wire harnesses and stuff out of the way. Make it a little bit easier to get at everything. Otherwise the wire harnesses just hang there. So I'm working on the exhaust manifolds and spark plug wires. And the spark plug wires are pretty tough to get off. So you either have to manhandle them off or give them a little bit of a twist at the plug end, spark plug end, and then pull them. But even that, I had a couple of tough spots where I had to really get on them with a long handle needle nose pliers and kind of pry them out of there. So after we got the spark plug wires off, I went for the water pump. Taking the water pump off, not bad, simple, 6 bolts. The only problem with the water pump is it makes a mess with the coolant. And I hate antifreeze. On top they have this little crossover vent, and I think it's a steam vent, but everybody says it's a steam vent. I don't know what type of crossover it is, but they have the crossover tube in front and then they have the port blockers in the back. So I'm working the manifold bolts off here, and I come across the one, both sides against the firewall. Oh, back one is broke. Nice. Yeah, back one is broke. These are off. Okay. Cool. Both sides of the exhaust manifold bolts against the firewall were broken off. It seems to be pretty common. You hear about it, see it a lot. Because I wasn't reusing these heads, I didn't worry about it. The stud was sticking out far enough where I could probably grab it with the pliers and it would have come out. I don't think I would have had to weld on a nut. You gotta run a pry bar back there to kind of pry it off of that back stud to get that manifold gasket off. It was stuck on that back stud bolt. On the driver's side here, it wasn't much different. I just had to use the long ratchet, only because I needed a little extra torque to get them off. But none of them broke. None of them broke, and it was only the two that were tight against the firewall that were broke off. And they weren't broke off flush on the head. Like the head of the bolt just popped off. Only troublesome parts, you just have to work around all the wiring harnesses. You just have to be careful not to catch them, pull them, or yank on them. Look at how easy we can get to the oil pressure thingamajigger. Yeah, right there, baby. Boom. That's simple. I did a job on a 2012 Silverado where I had to pull that sensor out of there. It didn't take it apart this far. It sure was easier this way. Wow. Look at how dirty that is. Holy moly. So with the valley cover out of the way, just going to go ahead and vacuum up any debris that's in there and then start taking off the rockers. The cordless ratchet works out pretty well. It can't loosen them from a standstill, so you have to give it a little bit of a ratchet. You can see this one, that one, and that one. Those three. So I'll go over it a little bit more, what I found when I took them apart, when I do the inspection on the rockers and the push rods. Even though I'm not reusing the heads, I'll go through and show what I found. And you can see there, as I'm prying on that stupid exhaust manifold, I didn't pull out the spark plugs. And I broke some spark plugs off. That was a step I missed. I'm not reusing these heads, so I'm not really following the torquing pattern. It's probably going to be a big deluge of coolant when I pull the heads off. Well, not probably, there will be. And I'm just too lazy to put a straw in there. It would take a couple seconds, right? Stick a hose in there, put air across it like I saw someone do online, and drain it out. No, I just want to make a mess. We're gonna try to eliminate all the coolant that's in the heads. Now, I saw this on somebody's video. Obviously, I researched as much as I could, and I think is this one? Oh, hey. Where does this one go? No, that one goes nowhere. So it was down here, and he pushed this in here as far down as he could go. All right, and then he took a air hose, blew it across to create like a vacuum, I guess. Oh, hey, this one, I guess I blew too much. Look at that. I think it's coming out. Holy crapola. Vacuum. It's draining though. It's actually draining. So when I was blowing air, I atomized some of that stupid coolant. Looks like we're getting to the end. Took a while, probably about 8 minutes, but that's what it looks like when it gets to the end. So what really worked nice here is when I pulled that tube out of there, I didn't let the tube drain. I put it immediately into the other side, and there was enough to pull the siphon, and it started all over again, which was really awesome. Here I'm removing the head bolts, giving it a little pry, and very little coolant dripped out of there. There was very little coolant. But I did forget a ground strap on the back side of the driver's side head. So it's grounded up against the firewall, and that has to be transferred to my new heads. So I just left it attached to that driver's side head and pulled it out. Then I went ahead and did the same thing to the passenger side head and pulled that out of there. And out it came. So the lifters and the lifter baskets, that was the final step. That's as deep as I was going into the motor. And I did not keep track of what lifter came from what position. The only reason I did not is because they were not being reused, nor was the cam. So everything was just removed and set out. Some of the lifters required a needle nose pliers, and it wasn't like they came out 1, 2, 3. It was more of a 4, 5, 6 because the fit, I believe, is so tight, and if you pull up on it, you have a chance of maybe binding it a little bit in there. So you just have to be careful with the way you remove them, and they come right out. Now we're done. Now we're done. That's it. For today. For Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve. And we'll get them cleaned up.